A few months back, as we got the big update to League's lore, it became obvious that Riot had the intention to take all the lore and all the story around League of Legends a little bit more seriously. By which I don't mean that wouldn't be the case before. It's just that from that update forward, everything that would come out of the League of Legends IP would fall under the same canonical umbrella. Sure, at first we all focused on the possibility of having fully canon cinematics, after which everyone suddenly realized the seriousness of Legends of Runeterra. And then some people thought, oh god, it may all lead to the MMO. But among all of these things, League of Legends was still working on its own stuff. Part of which is something very interesting that most people look past. You see, since it was confirmed that the IP team will look over everything that comes out of League of Legends, that also means that all the new items that are coming to League of Legends in Season 2024, which are items based off of this universe, also have someone looking over it to make sure it fits the canon. Yes, sure, some items are not 100% canon. I mean, the Blade of the Ruined King is still the blade that Viego has, so it's in the shop for the sake of gameplay. But the item itself, the visuals and the description are all canon. And so here comes an interesting topic for a video. Why don't we go through all the new items that are coming to League of Legends and let's have a look at where they are from. Because again, all of these items should be rooted in the same canonical universe. I'll try to go somewhat alphabetically, but as you'll see, we'll be jumping all over the place. Which is why we are totally not starting with A. So first we have GIC Rern, which is an item with its own flavor text. Destiny is shaped through cunning, sweat, and steel. Magic violates the principle no longer. See, at first sight, after the flavor text is referencing steel and after looking at all the runes, I would assume this is actually a Noxian item. So by referencing the magic, they might be talking about their enemy, Demacia. Next there is Bloodsong, which also has a flavor text. Ah, the roar of the crowd and the blood on the sand. Of course, at first glance, it should be obvious that this is an item from Shurima. Although, to be honest, looking at set, I wouldn't be surprised if some people thought it was Ionian. The only thing that gave this one away is the blood and sand. And in fact, if you look at the design, you may see that the gems are actually the eyes of skulls. It may be a hyena skull, or it may be some kind of a serpent, all of which would fit Shurima, but overall, it is an item used in a fighting ring somewhere in Shurima, which would most likely be referencing the followers of Renekton, who actually use these blood rings to decide who is worthy. And yes, we also read about these bits in Renekton's latest color story. Long live color stories. After which we're getting Celestial Opposition, for those who would dare the climb. Yes, this definitely looks like a Solari shield. Although, it may also be leaning a little bit into the Rakor territory. Regardless, this is a piece of armory that is supposed to help the people who would want to try and climb Mount Dargon, which could be anyone from the other side of the world to the natives from the mountain, such as the Solari or the warriors of Rakor. After which we also have Crypt Bloom. From death, life. As you can see in the icon, the Crypt Bloom is blooming from the corpse of a Demacian, or at the very least, this is a Demacian helm. At first I thought that this flower would be Night Bloom, which is a rare flower all about death because it is blossoming on the Shadow Isles. Nope, this seems to be a totally different one. So just know it is growing from corpses. Remember that one in case you would like to harvest this one in the MMO. Next we have Dawn Core. All the power in the world comes from the stars. Or so it said. What does this flavor text mean by "it said"? Was it the core? Or was it something beyond the stars? Regardless, what the flavor text says is true. Technically, a lot of the magic on Runeterra comes from the Celestials. Specifically, there was a mysterious, nefarious Celestial who kinda dropped the world runes on Runeterra, where people picked them up and started doing pretty awful things. Regardless, this entire planet comes from the cosmos. So yes, the power comes from there. And as to what the item actually is, I don't know. After which we're getting a lot simpler item. Dream Maker, your Bundle City bedtime buddy. It is literally a plushie crafted by the Yordles. Now, continuing with the alphabetical order, here I would also like to point out that, yes, coffee is technically canon now. Remember, there is the espresso snacks. After which we got a really badass item, the experimental Hex Plate. With the flavor text, crown control can be a messy work. Yes, this is most likely the Warden's answer to the Turbo Chem Tank. The Chem Tank and the Hex Plate should be opposites of each other. And you know what? One day I would love to see these clash on the battlefield. It is such a shame we can only see a little bit of the upper half of this item, because I really wanna see what the full suit looks like. Next, there is a tiny item called the Glowing Mote. It is a little item that gives you a little bit of extra haste, and it seems to be a little fairy in a bottle, probably tied to Bandle City. Maybe we'll learn about that one in Bandletale. After which I also really want to talk about the Haunting guys. This one now has a new icon that definitely feels more canon and in line with the universe. This one could have two kinds of origins. Either this could be based on the Shadow Isles and it could be related to the Deathly Spirits, all of which are all about masks, so it would definitely fit there. Or with the white and red color scheme, maybe it could be also related to Ionia. It could be related to all the canonical legends which are leading to Spirit Blossom, which remember is also canon. Or it could be just related to the Shadow Order. Unfortunately, it is seemingly impossible to figure out more than that, so just know that this item is really cool now. And then there is Hollow Radiance, which is an awesome item on so many levels. First of all, it does have a flavor text. A relic of Icathia remade. Now here's the thing. Yes, it now makes sense why it is gold and purple. If it is an Icathian item, these would be the Icathian colors. That's why Jax had the purple cloak too. But what you may not realize is that this is a counterpart to another cloak which you may recognize. If you look at the shoulder pads, you'll see that they are exactly the same. And while on one of them you have the Shuriman icon, on the other one you have the Icathian one. So yes, this new item is such a cool reference to the Shuriman war with Icathia. This is why it's so cool to see that all the new items are getting a little bit of their story. But then we also have Hubris. This item looks amazing, but it could be so many different things. It could be a Demacian item related to the entire Draconic part, it could be an Ionian item related to all the Dragonmancers, or it could belong to some kind of a Mage King. Maybe the Icathian Mage King? I mean, it is a crown after all. So here I'm just really sad we don't know much more about this one because it looks awesome. Similarly, we also have Malignants, an item that is definitely in a way related to Renada, but as to what it is and what it does, I really don't know. It could be a little piece of jewelry with her poison in it, it could be a bigger tank with more poison in it, or I don't know, maybe it's a hand grenade. Look, it's a piece of tech from Zaun. Everything in Zaun explodes. That's it, though here it explodes with poison. So next there is also Martys Gambit. It is a shoulder pad that could have two different origins. Either it is related to the Freljord, hence why you can see the lightning coming out of it, which would obviously be related in a way to the Ursine, or this could be depicting some kind of a sea monster, in which way this would be related to Bilgewater. I mean, the spine of it actually looks like a proper spine of a fishy creature. So in my opinion, it is more of a Monster Hunter item. Still, it's hard to get anything out of it. Which also goes for the Netherstride Grimoire. Look, this is a magical book that probably goes fast. It's magical, which to be honest, if you still look at the middle and you kind of turn it a little bit, it kind of looks like the Shuriman Sun Disk. I think that's a coincidence though, it looks a little bit more Lunari maybe. But even that one seems off, so you know what? I don't know. After which we get Opportunity. Sometimes you need to make your own. Again, this item could have two different origins. Either it is some kind of a Shadow Isles item, which to be fair doesn't seem to strike true, or more likely this is some kind of an Ionian item. It really seems like it is a weapon related to the spirit realm, be it through the shadow technique or simply how the ninjas are dealing with spirits. Although, by looking at the steel, I wouldn't be surprised if this turned out to be a Lunari weapon. especially after looking at the celestial design of Aphelios' weapons. But next we have Luden's Companion, a mage's best friend. Get yours today! The quote of a Piltover merchant, presumably deceased. So yes, this is a gun for mages crafted in Piltover. Now, because it is now called Luden's Companion, Luden should be the mage. I mean, that's where the staff originally comes from. So it had to be some kind of a merchant, maybe the one talking here, who sold this gun to the mage. As to who Luden actually is, we still don't know. Although I would like to point out that this design has to be canon because it also appears in Ruined King. After which we also got the Profane Hydra, the Depths Demand Sacrifice. This is definitely some kind of a weapon of the Serpent Callers. You know, all the mad people who are protecting Bilgewater from all the sea monsters. Or even protecting Bilgewater using the sea monsters. You know, maybe that's what the sacrifices are all about. Then there is also the Pox Arcana, which I do believe was previously Morellonomicon. This still seems to be some kind of a magical item that may be related to Mordekaiser. Remember, Mordekaiser had a lot of these dark artifacts hidden underneath the Immortal Bastion. And maybe these 3 blue claws are not related to the Shadow Isles, because those would be more green, and instead it is related to Mordekaiser. But that is just a theory. And then we have a really good item, Directrix. This may seemingly be just a plume, maybe related to Zaya, maybe related to some kind of a phoenix. But in reality, this is a demonic item. Because if you look at the background, you may actually see the demonic circle depicting all of the primal demons. How do we know this? Well, if you look at Fiddlestick's music video, in some of the parts during the seizure-inducing flashes, if you take a bunch of screenshots and you piece it all together, you will actually get this circle, where each of the dots is representing a primal demon, with one of them likely being Fiddlesticks. This is all still a theory that the community put together. But what we do know is that this circle is related to the demons. And it is the exact same circle you can see in the background here. So you know what? Maybe this is the plume of Raum, Swain's demon. Though whatever the case may be, this is one of the best items we got. After which we got the Runic Compass, which is one of the items related to the support items. Based on the little magic trail, it seems to be from Bandle City, and other than that, there's not really much to pick apart here. Though I will say there is still the Runic Bulwark, which has these weird runes on it, which I can't really place into any region specifically. So even though both of these items are runic, one of them looks a little bit more canon than the other. And yes, the compass is also related to the Bounty of Worlds, which again may seem to be some kind of a Bandle City treasure, but as the name indicates, this is probably just a generic treasure. A cool new thing is that yes, the Armseeker also has a broken icon, where it definitely now looks like a Demacian item. When it's broken, it really looks like a piece of Petricite, compared to the working one where we weren't sure if that was a Freljordian item. After which we got the Solstice Sled. Come on, buddy, let's go sledding. Is it sled or sledge? I don't know how to pronounce that one. Anyway, it's Solstice, which means Targonian in a way? One would assume this would be the quote of maybe Nunu or someone, but this may be still on Targon. And then we also got Soul Anchor. This one is very simple, and obviously it is related to Illaoi. Not only does it look like it comes from the Buru, but it is also protecting your soul, with Illaoi being all about ripping your soul from your body. So hey, this is a really cool Bilgewaterian reference. Next there is also the Steel Sigil, which is obviously just a Noxian Medal of Honor. I mean, the main icon is depicting the Triforix. At least, I believe so. After which we get the Storm Surge, which is very obviously a staff of the Ursine. This is basically a lightning rod for the Volibear. After which there is the Sundered Sky. This one is one of the epic Demacian lances, which the Demacian soldiers use when riding the Raptors. Then we also have the Tunneler. Any tool can become a weapon in the right hands. I mean, yeah, Vice Atlas gauntlets were originally a mining tool. In Arcane, it's just big gloves. To be fair, yes, I'm pretty sure they were also meant to be just a worker's tool. Regardless, these are Atlas gauntlets with a big drill. Who wants to see that one in Arcane? After which we got another really awesome item. Terminus. Very obviously, this is a bow of the Sentinels of Light. And I gotta say, it actually looks really great. And yes, you may be remembering only bad things about the Sentinels, but hey, some parts were great. And then mostly everything got redeemed in the book, which most people probably didn't read. After which the Brutalizer got a new icon. It does look more brutal. It is still a stick. A really pointy stick. And then we got the Trailblazer. This is the support item that people voted on. And it did get its own flavor text. Crave your own path. Thankfully, as we voted on this one, we learned that this is supposed to be an item from Nazuma, which is Kasante's nation. And because that entire nation is all about exploration, it makes sense why they got a backpack. But then we also got Cyclosword. And I'm pretty sad we don't know anything about this one, because it looks awesome. It seems to be some kind of a Piltover creation, just based on the fact that it seems to be mechanical. But to be fair, it also looks like some kind of a weapon that came from Project. It almost looks futuristic. And it's awesome. After that, we also got the World Atlas. This is the first stage of the support item, which then turns into the compass. And here I would like to point out what's happening with the map. No matter which way I turn it, it still looks weird. I think it is supposed to be picturing the center of Valoran with Shrima below it. I just don't know which way to turn it. Who drew this? Was it the Yordles? They always see things differently. Unless that's the other side of the world. Look, if you turn it a specific way, it may also be Gamavor. Then we also got Zacs Realm Spike. Only the very brave or very foolish would dare turn the void against itself. Fortunately, Zac was both. So yeah, Zac is now a new name in this universe. One would assume it was perhaps an Icathian, maybe it was another mage from Ishtal, kinda like Nezuk, or perhaps it was some kind of a much younger mage who just started dealing with the void recently. As to what this item actually is, I don't know. And then we got the last item, which is Undying Despair. At first sight, this one kinda reminded me of Ledros' shield, which we got to see both in the Ruined King and in Legends of Runeterra. But I don't believe that's the case, so here, I actually have no idea where this could be from. It could be related to Shadow Mages and the Shadow Technique of Ionia, or it could also be related to the Shadow Isles. However, it could also be tied to Mordekaiser. This is really why I have no idea what this item is or where it came from. Not to mention, maybe it is still a placeholder icon. So you know what, let people make up their own theories. Stop right there! I'm here from the future to tell you that we are not done yet. You see, with the re-release of Arena, we got new items that dropped into the database into the live client. So right now, if you go through the list of items in the client itself, you will see some extras. Now first, I want to talk about two more items that have been in the game for a while now, but finally we got a chance to talk about them. First of all, there is the Chalice of Blessing. This item is really cool because the flavor text basically tells you what it is. These blessed waters still carry their power to the worthy. So yes, this is an ancient chalice from Helya that is used to carry the blessed waters of the Blessed Isles. Now, the Shadow Isles. With the other item already in the game being the Lifewell Pendant, which says fashionable and functional. What's awesome about this one is that if you look into the background, you can see the Axiomata, which are the special weaving runes used within Ishtal. So this is an item used to channel elemental magic. But then we got 3 new items, that is besides all the returning items that are tied to Arena. The first one being the Hellfire Hatchet. This one could have some kind of an origin in the Freljord, where it could be tied to the Hearthbound, but if you look closely at all the smudged pixels, you may notice that the handle almost looks like a Shuriman staff. So the fire may be related to the Sun Disk, and yes, this may actually be a Shuriman weapon. After which, there is the Sin Eater. Now, I don't know what this icon is, but for some reason it really looks like an icon of an ability of a champion. I just don't know which champion this could be. Is it Hui? It looks like one of those weird emojis. Anyway, what's awesome is that the Sin Eater actually eats crown control from your allies. That's a really neat ability tied to an item that is obviously tied to demons. Though we won't get anything more out of it. And then we got the Wordless Promise, which is a ring that looks to be Ionian, because of how the steel is being woven. That's kinda it. Although there is one more item that is new for Arena 2. And that's the Thundering Braid, which I assume is referencing one of the braids that Volibear has. I don't know how someone could get to possess such a thing, but it is an item in League of Legends now. And yes, the icon is the icon of Volibear's ability. So not much new there, but hey, this is a new item for Arena. Now, back to the past where we finished the video. But that's it for all the new items that were revealed so far. I don't know if there's gonna be any more, I just know that these items are all over the place. Some are in the data, some are on PBE, some are in the game, and trying to bunch all of these together into a single video was not that easy. So, looking back at these, you can clearly see that the IP team is actually doing a pretty good job. Some of these items fit into this universe perfectly. And I am really happy that now we can just look at some of these items and know they are from real places in this universe. Previously, with many items, that actually wasn't the case. Although a lot of them already had pretty good roots in the lore. And at the end of the day, I'm just happy that, yes, coffee is canon in League of Legends.